All right. As said yesterday, I said do 10 of these. I am 100% sure that meant everybody did the first 10 and didn't go one further. So I'm going to put up all the answers. You can check your work. And remember, if you don't get them all right, and when I say all, I mean all, and when I say right, I mean right, then you don't know what you're doing well enough, and you should practice some more. Okay? Do not stop me to say, what about, at all, until I've done them all. I'm recording all 32 of them. Okay? I'm only writing answers. If there is time after I get them all written down, we can talk about the individual ones. Okay? Okay.
Writing on the side. Yeah.
Did anybody attempt anything past 10? Should I bother? Okay. One person makes it worthwhile. Yeah, Mr. Manby. No. No, I do not. Sorry, buddy. Ish. No, I did them yesterday. I cannot look at them and know it. No, I wish. That would be pretty wicked. All right. So that all the answers are there. They are all recorded. You can check your work over. I'm going to go back to the first page right now because I assume that the vast majority of you only did the first 10. I also asked you to do these 10 on page 81 and 82, and I asked you to do 83. But I believe I said I was going to give you today to work on all that as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, if you are not done 81 through to the end of 87, you have work to be doing right now. If you need to ask about anything, I am here for you. All right? Class goes for, like, I don't know, another 20 minutes or something. Number 2 and 4. Okay, that's 4. Four n squared minus 324 equals 0. That's a difference of squares. 2n minus 18, 2n plus 18. Then you factor out the 2, and you get n plus 9, n minus 9 equals 0. Plus or minus 9. And number 4, 4m squared plus 20m equals 0. You factor out the m. Factor out the 4m. And you're left with m plus 5 equals 0. Which means either that has to be 0 or that has to be 0. So if m is 0, that's 0. 4 times 0 is 0. I stress to you, if you're going to start not doing practice, I would make sure that I attempt 4 and 5 here. If you are trying to find a way out of doing work, I would highly recommend you attempt those 2 at least. Because as you can see, they are exam-style questions. Oakley dokley. Yes.
So if we're doing like a quiz or a test on the
Quadratic, not aquatic. Yes. Quadratic equations. They are not swimming underwater.
would we use would you write both the approximate and the other one?
It depends on what I ask. Right? If I ask you, if I ask you to figure it out algebraically, I want exact. If I ask you to give me some roots, I don't really care. Very soon I'm going to teach you how to do this with your graphing calculator as well. Okay. It's actually pretty fun. In a nice way. I'm not being mean. That one? Oh, that one. This one. That one? Okay. What do you do every time you see fraction equals fraction? Forget about being in grade 11. What do you always do? No, it's not adding. It's fraction equals fraction. Yes. So you get x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 5x squared minus 2x. Then you just collect your like terms and continue.
You like playing rugby?
I don't care. I'll play rugby in anything.
So?
Best sport in the world.
Play rugby, so?
Well, you can't play rugby because you can't see the line, but you can play rugby.
We want to like start snowing. Right? It never happened to us, but like they do the cancel when you want to start snowing.
Depends. If the ground isn't frozen, they don't cancel the game.
For this phone call, you know how it says negative B here?
Yes.
If the number is already negative,
Then it's positive.
then it's positive?
Yes. When you bring that over, what happens? Cancels out, right? Factor out a 2a, a minus 3. So, a has to be, this has to be 0, yes? Or this has to be 0, yes? Right? So if a is 0, then this is going to be 0, right? And then 0 times whatever this is gets me 0. If a is 3, 3 minus 3 is 0, and 0 times whatever that is gets me 0. So it's 0 and 3. Is there anybody that needs to see or would like to see 4 and 5 from 83, or should I just do them and have it be on the video? Pardon me? Number 4, okay. So, I'll do number 4 in red. Length equals 23, width equals 16, yes? If the length is decreased by x, What is decrease, Julia? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Subtract. So 23 minus x, and the width is increased by x, w plus 16. The area is 378, right? So area is length times width equals 378, right? This is my new length and width, right? So, sorry, not width plus 16. I did that backwards. It's 16 plus x. Right? So now, length, 23 minus x, times width, 16 plus x, equals 378. Foil it out, and it's big numbers. I need my calculator because I can't do 23 times 16 in my head. $368 plus 23 minus 16, so plus 7x minus x squared equals 378, yeah? Then move everything. I would move the x's so it gets positive, and move that over there, so you're going to have negative 10 equals x squared minus 7x, right? Now, if you bring that over here, x squared minus 7x plus 10, you can factor this to get x minus 5 and x minus 2, right? So what are your two choices for x? Right. X equals 5 and 2. So it's going to be, your length is 18, right? So since it's 5 and 2, your length can either be 23 minus 5 or 23 minus 2, right? And your width is 16 plus 5 or 16 plus 2, right? So it's either 18 and 18, or sorry, 18 and 21, or 21 and 18. Same thing. Those are the dimensions. Did anyone need to see 5?
How do you know which way to do it?
What do you mean?
Like, can you not get either?
So k squared plus 3k plus 2. You can factor. So you factored here, k squared. So x is negative 2 and negative 1.
Oh, I did positive 2.
Well, no, they got to be negative because negative 2 plus 2 gets me the 0.
Oh, but I have it as, like, multiplies to 2 and
But-
adds to
but-
3.
Yeah. 2 and 1.
2 times 1 is 2.
You have to-
1 is 3.
Yes. You have to multiply to 2 and add to 3.
Yeah, I did that.
Yes. And then this equals 0, yes?
Yeah, so x is negative 2 and
Negative 2 and negative 1, yeah.
Yeah, but then, like, do I do that or do I do it in square root?
Either way, they're going to be the same
Same
thing.
thing?
Like, I don't know what you did. That's the square root of 1. The square root of 1/4 is a half. So it's negative 3 halves minus a half is negative 4 halves, which is negative 2.
Oh,
Or negative 3 halves plus a half, which is negative 2 halves, which is negative 1.
you can do it either way.
Yes.
Okay.
And you could also have used the formula. All three work all the time. But sometimes your questions like this one, it would be stupid to try to complete the square because you're dividing by 4.9. Right? And you can't factor it. So what would you use? The formula. Even the formula is a pain because A is a decimal. That's the type of question we go to our graphing calculators for, which we're going to do very soon. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So as I was just saying with number 5, you can't factor it, and it's not a good candidate for completing the square. So we do what always works, which is the formula. So x equals negative b. Now, look at this. It's written in a weird order, right? What's a? What? No. Negative 4.9. What's b? 14. And 2 is c. You have to do it that way. So, fill it in. Negative 14 plus or minus the square root of 4.9 squared minus 4 times negative 4.9 times 2 over negative 9.8, right? Because 4.9 times 2. Then you just fill it in. Negative 14 plus or minus the square root of 4.9 squared minus 4. Oh yeah, it's squared. Sorry, it's b squared. So it's 196. Forgot the squared. 4.9 squared.
Isn't it b squared?
B is 14, yes. So, sorry, negative 14 plus or minus the square root of 196 minus 4 times negative 4.9 times 2. There we go. Over negative 9.8. Negative 14 plus or minus 196 minus 4, 9, 2. And then so 196 so that's the square root of 235.2 over negative 9.8. So this is negative 14 plus or minus 15.33 over negative 9.8. Yes? Everybody with me? People that are following along? So that means this is either 1.33 over negative 9.8, right? Or negative 29.33 over negative 9.8. Which one of those makes sense? Left or right? Why? Because it's positive. You can't have a negative time. So this answer has to be extraneous. This has to be the answer. And then you would do that. 2.99 seconds. So it's in the air for 3 seconds. Now, I'm going to teach you how to do that on your graphing calculator, which means you only got to punch in what you see, this equation. But like always, learning to use your calculator is harder than doing the math. But all of you are so addicted to bloop, 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 you will think that using the calculator is better. It's not. Just for fun, Jazz Curate, this is what it looks like to do this on your calculator. Ready? That's how long it takes. See how many buttons I had to push? Or you can do that, which, while it is ugly, requires you to push buttons like thrice. But I will show you how to do it. It's this. Cross multiply, then collect your like terms. So that's going to be 4x squared minus 6x minus 3 equals 0, yes? You with me? Okay. And then does that factor? Are there factors of 12 that add to 6? Can I factor this? No. So what do? I could use the equation, or I could complete the square, right? It's not a bad candidate for completing the square because this is even, but it's still going to give me a fraction, right? It depends on what you're good at. If you're good with fractions, go ahead and complete the square. If not, use the formula. Either way, it's going to work. We've already done a lot of completing the square. I'll use the formula. So x equals negative b, which is 6, plus or minus the root of b squared, which is 36, minus 4 times, minus 6 squared minus 4 times 4 times negative 3 over 2 times 4. 6 plus or minus the root. 36, 4 times 4 is 16, 16 times negative 16 times negative 3 is positive 48. So it's 36 and 48, which is 84, right? Root 84 over 8, right? Then you would simplify. You could stop there, and that's what I was talking about yesterday. You've met my expectations, great, you use the formula. If you want to exceed expectations, which isn't really exceeding expectations, because you should always simplify, right? There's no way to exceed expectations in math class, because you're always supposed to simplify. So I have to change my rules, say, oh, at least they can do the formula. So, right? But that's because that's the way Canadians do math. So this would be 21 times 4, right? Out comes the square root of 4, so I've got 6 plus or minus 2 root 21 over 8. Then I would simplify again to get 3 plus or minus root 21 over 4. Okay? No problem. What are you doing in my kitchen? But see, this is the type of thing right here that Canadian kids screw up, because they forget that you just have to cross those, right? They've seen this, 3 equals x over 21, and they know how to solve that. And they've seen sine of 72 equals x over 14.7. They know how to solve that, but they can't put it together because they aren't taught the concepts enough. They're taught how to do things. The concept that makes trig work and that work and unit rates work is proportional reasoning, what everybody in Canada calls cross-multiplying, but it's not cross-multiplying. It's proportional reasoning, right? I know. And you learned that no matter what, if you have fraction equals anything, you can cross them. We didn't. Well, some of us did. Or they were taught and forgot. Everybody that's been in my room ever should have gotten this question. They should have known their first step was to cross. Because I do all the time. All the time. But since there's a belief in Canada that if you don't get marks for it, it's not worth doing, nobody does their homework. Because there's no value put on practice. Even though you don't get good at something without practice. If I were to ask a hockey player, do you make the rep team without practice? No. Do you practice hard? Yeah. Do you practice your math? No, I had hockey practice.
No, what times 21 for
Can I get everyone's attention, please? If, regardless of whether you're done or not, I also want you before Monday, because Tuesday's your cumulative, I want you to do just this box on page 88. Okay? Just that box. You can't do number 5 because either most of you don't have a graphing calculator. If you do, you probably don't know how to use it. So I only want you to do the blue box. Okay? Then we're going to do number 5 on Monday. You don't need a graphing calculator. I have some to lend you. But if you have your own or can get your hands on one, please do. Have a good long weekend. Get in no trouble. Why? Oh, right, of course. It's Diwali. Bye-bye. Good long weekends.